How are we? Here with another Pickems. This time for the champion stage of the major, but we'll quickly just go over the group stage. Didn't do too bad. Shame that Cloud9 ended up playing Windstrike for that 0-3. A lot closer than it should have been. Mouse Sports obviously gave everyone a bit of a rude shock there, and with Fnatic playing against Hellraisers, I think it was in that last best of three. I was going to get one pick out of it at least. But Liquid went through 3-0, beating Astralis. I thought if they played each other in a best of one, that sort of result could happen. It might be our Na'Vi phase. Hellraisers, all straightforward. Sort of outlined it in my last one. But that brings us here into the champion stage bracket play, straight into some quarterfinals. Obviously, we spoke about how important pick'ems are and how you can never be a good analyst or reporter or journalist or anything in esport if your pick'ems are bad. So ideally here I'm going to get gold, and I'm going to get it by picking all of the quarterfinals games. Let's do some quick math in my head. I'm on 22 points right now. 48 is like 60. Need to get like 6. I can only get one of these wrong basically. But I'm only going to get none of these wrong because I'm good. But here are all the matchups. Top half of the bracket, Complexity and MIBR, bigger Na'Vi. And then the bottom half is a little stronger, I think. So you got Liquid and Hellraisers, Astralis, FaZe Clan. Been doing a lot of social media listening, a lot of reading, HLTV stats, all that kind of jazz. Based on, and also some, sort of personal biases and opinions I have. Been just thinking about all these different matchups and what I think what's gonna pan out. But we'll start with Complexity MIBR. I've got a lot of people in my ear constantly talking about Complexity, and good on them for getting as far as they have so far. I think they're looking really strong. Some of their stats looking really good. I saw one. It's they're got the best stat of converting rounds where they start with 4 against the other team's 5. Lose the opening pick and still got like a 58% chance of winning the round. It's just nuts. But MIBR, not the strongest they've looked, but they're looking decent, but much better than they have earlier in the year and throughout the middle of the year. So that'll be an interesting matchup. And then Big, obviously, playing really well coming off the player break. Smooth is doing really good, I think. Tabson's always a beast. Otherwise, I just think that they've got good strats, a good mind, good like hive mind for the game in that unit. Na'Vi, it's just how much is Edward gonna shit the bed, and is Simple and Electronic gonna just carry? But I think that's how Na'Vi's been for a while lately. Liquid just across the board looking really strong. Same with Hellraisers, but I think the level that they're like across the board at Liquid is just higher, like in each individual component of that. While I think Issa and Woxic are insane. We sort of saw them go a little quiet, and Bondic and Angel, the more experienced players, stepping up here and there as the push comes to shove and the pressure starts to mount. So this should be interesting. And Astralis FaZe, it's Titan v Titan. Shame they're versing each other this early, but oh well. I obviously have Astralis to win the major, so I think we'll shortly see how that looks. Jump back at the top. MIBR, I think they're just much more dominant. I think they're going to be able to just sort of push Complexity around a little more. Now that we're in bracket play, MIBR have been here before. While I do appreciate all of the stars on Complexity and the way they play, and it's not just stars stepping up, they clearly have a system. I think they're peaking, and I want to see them continue to do well. I just don't think this is the time or place that it's going to happen. So kudos to them for getting this far, but I don't have any sort of stock in them going any further than this. But good on them, and we'll see them at Katowice, I reckon. I know actually they should be there, right? So Big versus Navi. I think this would be a really interesting game. I wouldn't say they're like head to head like clashing mentalities, but they're definitely not similar. I think there's lots of star potential, like big plays coming out from Smuya and Tabson against Electronic and Simple. I obviously think Navi has the higher performing sort of players, the best player in the world actually, but it should be a really fiery sort of game. I just don't think Big are going to be able to overcome Navi in a best of three. While it's been good for them coming all the way from the challenger stage, uh, some more sort of elements are going to be at play here. And Big did pull some really awesome wins out along the way, but again, I just see Navi rolling over them just out of just sheer force. I think Navi, they're going to sort of be a bit hungrier here, and I think that's actually going to really play a big role. This game is probably the most one-sided one, I think. I think while Hellraisers, I'm loving them right now. I don't think they're ready for this. Not against Liquid, who have just been impeccable so far. I don't think they've lost a map thus far, putting on some really good performances. And if they're taking Astralis to the limits, it'd need to be nuclear performance from Woxic and Issa. They'd need to be dropping ridiculous numbers. While it is possible, I think it's more possible that Liquid's coming through. Astralis are going to win the major. We're going to quickly avoid this one and come back down to this one because this one's got an easy. Astralis are going to win the major. This is going to be one of the closest games though at the major and one of the best of threes. We saw Liquid take Astralis to the limit before, and they're going to do it again. But it doesn't matter how shaky Astralis looked in the last stages. This is the playoffs. This is where it counts. Which comes back nicely to this one. I think the experience of MIBR in winning majors and with Yanko and the drive and all the effort they've been putting in, I think it's going to pay off here. While I do think this is also going to be another amazing close semi, should it happen this way, I've just got the Brazilians just pushing Navi over here. Not convincingly, but in a way that is sort of reflects all of the efforts and the potential that they have. This I don't think will be as good as MRBR Liquid, but there will be some sort of similarities, some really like cool matchups. The star players versus star players, Fallen Device and Stewie and Dupree. And while I love that, Astralis are going to win the major. Whole lot of analysis in that, I know. I just have been seeing so much good stuff from Astralis, and much like with their win in Atlanta, maybe they weren't this polished. Maybe they weren't this sort of similar. They didn't have the routines and they weren't as practiced. I think that they're here to play now. They're here to win. They've done it before. They're going to do it again. They're going to win the major. So, Gold Pickem, here we come.